Previously on Days of Our Dice. In the shadow of dawn at Drakestide Cove, fatal curiosity proved to be Nali's undoing. A seemingly innocent green bumblebee, harbinger of secrets, led her to witness Jack Moonstrider's clandestine meeting atop the company's tower. Hidden whispers exchanged with a mysterious cloaked figure spoke of black dragons, Rittenheim, and Lady Cordelia Blackthorne's unexpected entry into the gathering storm. But prying eyes rarely go unnoticed. In a heartbeat of betrayal, the green messenger revealed its true nature, and Nali found herself plummeting from the tower's edge, caught between sky and stone, life and death. Meanwhile, across sea and sky, Jelani and Wormrex journeyed to the heart of power. Guided by wyvern riders bearing the crest of the Order of the Aurelian Scales, they soared over Ithoria's patchwork landscape to the alabaster spire of the company headquarters. There, amid arcane splendor and hovering crystals, stood Vaylin Dareth, platinum-haired, mismatched eyes gleaming with secrets untold. As the threads of fate pull tighter, our heroes stand divided between revelations and ruin. What awaits Nali in her deadly fall? What knowledge will Vaylin Dareth impart? And what of the Raven Queen's prophecy for Malveth and the Shaddakai twins? The veil between worlds grows thin, and ancient powers awaken once more. Nali plummeted through the cool early morning air, her form a fragile silhouette against the dawn sky. As her eyes fluttered closed, resigned to the inevitable, fate intervened with the subtlety of a battering ram. Strong arms enveloped her, halting her descent with jarring suddenness. Krothar Cloudwatcher cradled her as if she were no more than a feather, his massive frame absorbing the impact that should have shattered her.
Well, what have we here? A damsel in distress dropping from the heavens. You're not slipping away that easily, Nali.
Nali's eyes, brimming with unshed tears, locked onto Krothar's beaming face. Disbelief warred with overwhelming relief, her heart thundering against her ribs. Nearby, Lyra and Kaelin stood watch, their expressions a curious blend of amusement and concern.
We thought we'd intercept you before your hasty departure, Nali. Quite the exit you had planned.
Indeed. We figured you might require some assistance, though I must say we didn't anticipate catching you in such a precarious position.
I never imagined I'd be so grateful to hear such dreadful attempts at humor. Thank you, from the depths of my heart.
With gentle care, Krothar lowered Nali to her feet. Her legs trembled beneath her like a newborn fawn's. She gazed up at her saviors, her eyes shining with gratitude. But there was something more, an urgency, a desperate need to share her discovery. She leaned in close, her voice barely a whisper on the evening breeze.
I saw Jack conversing with that bee, but it wasn't a bee at all. It transformed into a cloaked figure. Something sinister is afoot. We need to keep an eye on Jack. He is reporting to the mage Archelium.
The weight of her words settled over the group like a shroud. Krothar's brow furrowed deeply, while Lyra and Kaelin exchanged a loaded glance. They all understood the gravity of this revelation and the danger of acting hastily.
We'll keep this between us for now. Best not to alert Jack until we've unraveled more of this mystery.
Agreed. We'll inform the others discreetly. We can't afford a misstep in this delicate dance.
Krothar extended a steadying hand to Nali as she attempted to walk. Her steps faltered, strength deserting her limbs. Before she could voice a protest, Krothar swept her into his arms effortlessly, bearing her towards the tower entrance. Kaelin melted into the lengthening shadows to resume his vigilant watch, while Lyra followed close behind.
Seems I'll be your chariot after all. Not that I'm complaining, mind you.
They traversed the courtyard, their elongated shadows stretching across the flagstones in the morning light. Inside, the others awaited, their expressions a kaleidoscope of curiosity and concern as Krothar and Lyra entered with their precious cargo.
Nali experienced a bout of weakness. She nearly lost consciousness. We're ensuring she gets some much-needed rest.
Little Horn, perched in a shadowy corner, narrowed her eyes. She wasn't one to be so easily deceived. Rising with deliberate grace, she moved to fetch water, a transparent excuse to draw closer, to glean more information.
I'll fetch her some water. We can't have our Nali swooning at inopportune moments now, can we?
Krothar walked up the flight of stairs and found a room filled with multiple beds, good lighting, and a cabinet of dusty medical supplies, what looked to be an infirmary. He moved in swiftly and gently deposited Nali onto a nearby bed, Lyra hovering protectively at her side. A wordless exchange passed between them, an understanding of the need to share the truth, but also to safeguard it until they fully comprehended the stakes. As Little Horn returned, Valyria drifted closer, her face etched with concern and curiosity.
There's something of great import you must know. It concerns Jack and what Nali witnessed.
Valyria listened intently, her eyes widening with each revelation, the gravity of the situation etching itself into her features. Krothar stood sentinel as Lyra spoke in hushed tones, and when she finished, Valyria nodded, her face pale but set with determination.
We'll ensure her safety. Whatever storm is brewing, we'll weather it together.
With Valyria now privy to their secret, Lyra slipped away, her footfalls echoing softly through the stone corridors as she went to summon Malveth. The cleric arrived swiftly, his healing magic both gentle and potent as he tended to Nali's injuries. She drifted into a fitful slumber, exhaustion finally claiming her, the lines of worry easing from her face. Kithri entered the room and took a knee next to the cleric as he sent more healing energy into the sleeping Nali. Malveth turned to Kithri, the weight of their responsibility unspoken yet palpable between them. He would remain behind, standing guard over Nali, with Pennington, Lyra and Kaelin ensuring her safety, while the others ventured forth to fulfill the evening's perilous plans. Outside the tower, the twins resumed their watchful vigil, their keen eyes scanning the horizon and awaiting the forthcoming night. All the while, Jack, Kithri, Krothar and Valyria began to steel themselves for the mysteries that awaited at Corvus Manor. And now let's pause for a brief moment. The dice are in motion, but before they land, let's take a quick detour to talk about how you can help keep the adventure alive.
Even the bravest adventurers need to rest. But while our heroes catch their breath, you can help keep their journey alive. Step beyond the story and join the adventure at daysofourdice.com, your portal to all things Days of Our Dice. Explore our treasure trove of exclusive merch, support the show on Ko-Fi or Patreon, and help forge the next chapter of this epic saga. Your support keeps the dice rolling, the fireballs flying, and the legends growing. So whether you grab a shirt, sip a Fireball blend coffee, or simply spread the word, know that you're part of the story. Now, let's get back to the adventure.
In the shadowy recesses of Nali's quarters, the air hangs heavy with the scent of exotic herbs and the subtle hum of arcane energy. Malveth, his face etched with concentration, hovers his hands over Nali's still form. His lips move in an ancient chant, the words dancing on the knife edge between life and death. Lyra stands sentinel by the door, her keen eyes never leaving the threshold, as if daring any threat to cross it. Enter Rook, once Evander Pennington, now the Raven Queen's emissary. He glides into the room, his dark leather coat brushing against the wooden frame. The porcelain mask, a stark contrast to the shadows around him, reflects the soft glow of Malveth's magic. Behind that emotionless facade, yellow eyes pierce the gloom, locking onto Malveth with unnerving intensity.
Your timing is precarious, Rook.
A silent exchange of glances passes between Malveth, Lyra and Kaelin, a wordless conversation heavy with unspoken fears and steadfast loyalties.
Lyra, if you would, the door. We need privacy for what's to come.
As you wish, Malveth.
The door closes with a soft click that echoes like thunder in the charged silence. Rook advances, his presence a living shadow that seems to devour what little light remains. Kaelin's eyes narrow, his body coiled and ready for whatever may come.
Her will is as inscrutable as the darkest night, Malveth. But I've seen things. Visions of a darkness so profound it threatens to swallow us all. The Queen has granted me glimpses, fragmented and cryptic, of the treacherous path that lies ahead.
Kaelin leans forward, his eyes boring into Rook's mask, searching for any crack in the porcelain veneer. Despite the unyielding facade, there's a tension in Rook's shoulders, a barely perceptible tremor in his voice that speaks of unease. Yet his words carry the unmistakable authority of one who speaks for powers beyond mortal comprehension.
Visions? What kind of visions? Why come to us with this now?
The Queen's message was unambiguous. You stand at a crossroads, and your next steps could lead to either salvation or utter ruin. Secondly, there is the greater looming threat. The obvious threat. The dragon has brought you here. As has the disappearance of the members of this tower, my former compatriots, and what lies behind their disappearance is what our Queen has shown me. Moreover, there are many factions that ally against the good of the world. This city is where many menaces are converging. The dark entities behind the criminal syndicate that felled me, the Circle of the Whispering Shadows, and the Order of the Eclipsed Hand who raises the dead in the name of the Dark One.
These villains that converge on this city under the guidance of their dark masters, they will be dealt with in my Queen's name, especially those that dabble in undeath. Whether it be the corpse monarch, that emaciated and wanting sovereign that was flung into the great abyss for his crimes against the living, or that other inequitable king, the one who crawls. Since entering this city, I dare say since I stepped foot on this land, I have felt both of their presence in the earth and on the wind.
My sister and I have felt them too, and the others that cloak their scent from us. But we can't fight shadows with mere hope, Evander. If there's treachery within these walls, within the company and closer to home, then we need more than vague warnings.
I'll uncover the truth, Kaelin. The Raven Queen's shadows are far-reaching, and they have a way of exposing even the most carefully hidden truths. But heed this warning. What we face is ancient, patient. It has waited in the dark for countless ages, and it will not rest until it claims what it desires.
As Rook's words hang in the air, the shadows seem to deepen, clinging to the corners of the room like living things. In that moment, they all feel it. The inescapable touch of the Raven Queen's hand upon their fates, and the knowledge that the path ahead leads into darkness unimaginable. The journey to Corvus Manor unfolds like a fever dream, each step bringing our heroes closer to a destiny shrouded in mist. As if sensing their approach, the great wrought iron gates groan open, a maw of twisted metal inviting them into the belly of the beast. Moonlight caresses the manor's ivy-choked walls, casting writhing shadows that seem to whisper dark secrets. Jack, Kithri, Krothar, and Valyria approach the grand double doors, which part silently, as if commanded by an unseen force. They step into a world of opulence and shadow. Marble floors gleam beneath their feet, reflecting the flicker of 1,000 candles. And then, they hear it. A haunting melody drifts through the air, each note impossibly clear, beckoning them deeper into the heart of this magnificent tomb. The music swells, leading them to a chamber that defies mortal imagination. And there, at its center, sits Lady Cordelia Blackthorne, her fingers dancing across the keys of a harpsichord with inhuman grace. She plays as if possessed, weaving two distinct melodies into one impossible symphony. It's a song of beauty and sorrow, of ages long past and horrors yet to come. The final notes fade, leaving a silence that rings louder than any music. Lady Cordelia rises, her movements liquid grace, and turns her full attention upon our heroes. Her gaze is a physical thing, a weight that seems to pierce flesh and bone, searching for the very essence of their souls.
Welcome, brave travelers, to my humble abode. I am Lady Cordelia Blackthorne, and I've been expecting you.
Around them, servants materialize from the shadows, taking up instruments. A harp's gentle strings, a violin's mournful cry. The very air thrums with an otherworldly energy. Cordelia approaches each of them in turn, her touch a whisper of silk and ice. But it's Krothar who captures her attention, her unnaturally bright eyes locked onto his with an intensity that borders on hunger.
You possess something rare, Krothar. A strength that goes beyond mere muscle. You remind me of someone I knew long ago during the War of Scale and Steel.
The War of Scale and Steel? But that was 2,000 years past.
A smile plays at Cordelia's lips, but her eyes are distant, lost in memories that should be impossible for any mortal being. There's a sadness there, an ache that has festered for millennia,
2,000 years, a mere blink of an eye when measured against eternity. He was like you, Krothar, brave, unyielding. We stood together, shoulder to shoulder with dragons, against a world that sought to destroy us all.
2,000 years? What manner of being are you?
The room falls deathly silent. Cordelia's gaze remains fixed on Krothar, a connection that defies time and logic. The others exchange glances, their suspicions crystallizing into a terrifying certainty. A single tear escapes Cordelia's eye, a droplet of deepest crimson. It trails down her alabaster cheek, a stark reminder of her true nature. With a delicate motion, she wipes it away, staining the frilled sleeve of her blouse.
Enough of ancient sorrows. I offer you my allegiance, my resources, my very self. All I ask in return is your aid in cleansing this city of those who threaten it.
Why now, Lady Blackthorne? You've kept your distance from the company before. What's changed?
Cordelia's smile is a thing of terrible beauty, her head tilting slightly as her eyes sparkle with danger and charm.
My little birds whisper of forces moving in the shadows. The circle of the whispering shadow grows bold. They struck at you today, did they not? And the sharp-dressed man, oh, how he rages as control slips through his fingers.
Once more, Cordelia's gaze is drawn to Krothar, as if by some magnetic force neither can resist.
Have we met before, my lady? There's something about you that feels...
Perhaps in another life, another time, or perhaps you're the echo of what was lost. I see in you a strength that defied time itself, a loyalty that survived the greatest of betrayals. You could be so much more, Krothar. You could stand beside me.
Cordelia steps closer, her fingers ghosting along Krothar's arm. The air crackles with power, an aura of ancient might radiating from her deceptively fragile form. She tilts her head, and for a moment, her eyes flash with an otherworldly crimson.
They couldn't save us then, not even the dragons. But perhaps this time, we could write a different ending to our tale.
Another crimson tear escapes, a stark reminder of the creature that stands before them. Cordelia's gaze finally breaks from Krothar's, her face a canvas of sorrow and determination. The truth hangs in the air, unspoken yet undeniable. They stand in the presence of a vampire, a being who has walked through millennia, carrying the weight of ancient grief. But perhaps she is something more, a potential ally in the darkness that threatens to consume them all. The very air in Corvus Manor seems alive with secrets, each shadow harboring whispers of ages past. Cordelia's footsteps echo through marble halls, a siren's call beckoning our heroes deeper into her lair. Beside her glides an attendant, hair cropped short in a boyish cut, moving with a grace that seems unnatural. Kithri's keen eyes narrow, taking in the other servants they pass. For Jack Moonstrider, these halls are a mirror to the past. Memories of Malcolm Blackthorne, Cordelia's father, his old friend, cling to every surface. The scent in the air. It's impossible, and yet unmistakable. Malcolm's essence lingers, as if he never truly left. They enter a vast chamber, a testament to forgotten glories. Armor gleams in the dim light, weapons honed to deadly perfection line the walls. But it's the paintings that draw the eye. Massive canvases depicting two armored warriors, their black plate etched with draconic motifs. The dark knights of the eternal night. Legends made flesh, their loyalty to the dragons unwavering even as the tides of war turned against them. Cordelia seems to vanish, her form melting into the shadows. Voices drift from beyond. She speaks to someone unseen, her tone hushed yet urgent. Then, as suddenly as she disappeared, she re-emerges. Her smile is radiant, a warmth in her eyes that wasn't there before.
Come, my friends. There's something I must share with you.
She approaches Jack, her gaze locked on his. In her hands, she cradles an object that hums with ancient power.
My father spoke of you often, Jack. He wanted you to have this again. I believe the time has finally come.
She extends her hand, offering a rod of intricate design. Recognition flashes in Jack's eyes. the rod of the blood moon eclipse, a relic he entrusted to Malcolm long ago.
I liberated it from an uninvited guest, one of the Order of the Eclipsed Hand. He proved quite informative once properly motivated.
Malcolm always did have a flair for the dramatic. I do miss your father terribly. Thank you, Cordelia.
Without a word, Cordelia turns, lifting a massive greatsword from its display. The blade seems to drink in the light, dark draconic runes etched along its length pulsing with barely contained power. She approaches Krothar, her movements almost reverent.
This is Gravesunder. It belonged to one of the bravest knights in an age long past. A weapon meant only for the purest of heart and the strongest of will. You, Krothar, you are that warrior.
Krothar hesitates, his reflection rippling along the dark blade. Cordelia's gaze locks onto his, her eyes seeming to pierce through to his very soul.
I know each of you. Valyria, your ward. Kithri, dragon rider. I long to meet Drageldoin. And Jack, I know you most of all. Our enemies seek to corrupt this city from within. The Circle of Whispering Shadows, the Order of the Eclipsed Hand, they must be purged before Drakestide Cove is lost. I ask you to join me in this fight.
Strange words from one who dwells in darkness, to speak of saving the world from it.
You, of all people, should understand, Kithri, your queen. Sorry, former queen was not bound by daylight, nor am I. Did you question her honor before that fateful day? We both know that love and light alone cannot keep the shadows at bay.
Kithri, with a look of great intensity and a glare, nods, a reluctant acknowledgement. The air between them crackles with unspoken challenge. Krothar, silent until now, reaches for Gravesunder. His massive hand engulfs Cordelia's, her delicate skin belying hidden strength.
Lady Cordelia, I accept this gift. I will wield it with honor and do justice to those who carried it before me.
Cordelia's lips curve into a gentle smile. She brings Krothar's hand to her lips, her kiss lingering a heartbeat longer than propriety demands. Then, as if remembering herself, she steps back, once again the picture of noble composure.
Enough grim talk for one night. Let us seal our alliance with drink and revelry. Come morning, my servants will see to your every need. Whatever your company requires, Jack, you need only ask and you shall receive.
They follow Cordelia back to the main hall, now transformed into a scene of sumptuous celebration. But as they move towards the feast, Valyria's gaze is drawn to the far end of the chamber. There, shrouded in shadow, stand two suits of armor, unmistakably draconic in design. The smaller suit could only belong to Cordelia, the larger, a perfect match for Krothar. Valyria's heart twists, jealousy and fear gnawing at her. It's as if Cordelia has been waiting, preparing for this very moment. How much of Krothar, Valyria wonders, still belongs to her? And how much has already been claimed by the mistress of Corvus Manor? And so the pieces move across the board of fate. Nali, saved from death's embrace, now sleeps under the watchful eyes of death's servants. Rook, the Raven Queen's harbinger, weaves his dire warnings into the tapestry of their fears. And in the opulent halls of Corvus Manor, ancient history stirs as Lady Cordelia Blackthorne extends gifts and allegiance with hands that have touched 2 millennia of darkness. What binds this immortal mistress to Krothar's soul? What secrets lie buried in the ruins of the War of Scale and Steel? As Valyria watches the shadows claim more of her guardian's heart, alliances are forged in blood and steel that may yet determine the fate of Drakestide Cove. For in Euphoria, nothing is given freely, not power, not loyalty, and certainly not the truth. The Circle of the Whispering Shadow plots from the darkness. The Order of the Eclipsed Hand raises its corrupted standard, and somewhere, the Black Dragons wait with patient malice. Join us next time on Days of Our Dice, when ancient oaths are tested, hidden truths claw their way to the surface, and our heroes discover just how deep the conspiracies of Drakestide Cove truly run. Brave adventurers, Your journey through the realms of Valyria has only just begun. The echoes of battle may fade, but the call to adventure rings eternal. Will you answer that call? Will you delve deeper into the mysteries that await, unravel the secrets of the Drakestide Coast, and face the darkness that threatens to consume all? The choice is yours, hero. Don't miss a single moment of this epic saga. Like this video to fuel the fires of adventure, and subscribe to our channel to ensure your place among the legends of Valyria. Hit that notification bell, and you'll be the first to know when new episodes drop. Until next time, may your critical hits be many and your fumbles few.